Noel Nation, welcome into another episode of the Renegade Rundown. We're getting up to about number 19. As always, my beautiful co-host, Jen Santee. You can find her on X at Jen Santee 1890. And once again, my good friend right here, Jake Crain from at Crain and Company, one of the stars of the new film out there, Lady Ballers. Make sure you go check it out. Really happy to have Jake back in the studio. We had to get him back and get his opinion. Kind of with, Florida State getting told the games don't matter. The day that college football died, the day the ACC died, there's a million ways you could look at it. And we've talked about it a lot with our audience. But, man, thank you for joining us in this kind of inauspicious time in Florida State history.
Yeah, no doubt, man. It's something we've talked about a lot on Crain and Company, and obviously I know we're going to dive into it, but it's good to be back, and again, as somebody that's an Auburn fan, we're all a fan of somebody. Auburn went undefeated in 2004 in the SEC and didn't get in. So I kind of know what y'all are going through.
It's kind of crazy that happened too, because when I think back, if there's anybody out there that has a gripe or a kind of similar scenario, it would be Auburn, but at least.
Well, the interesting thing is Jason White had hurt his leg at the end of the year.
That's true.
So really, in reality, it sucks even worse. Because, I mean, if it had been now, shoot, Auburn would have played for it. If he'd have sneezed the wrong way, Auburn would have played for it.
Yeah, the computer apparently didn't take that into account, I guess, then, right?
Yeah. No, look, it's something I know we're going to dive into, but I just – and listen, I think there is a rational argument on the other side of it, but when we're getting down to the core of what needs to happen and what needed to happen, in my opinion, to preserve the importance of the regular season, they just fell short.
Absolutely. They had that backdrop of the 12-team playoffs. Sorry, go ahead, Jen.
Oh no, I was just gonna say I think you're right. I mean, if we were talking about Alabama needing getting in over another one-loss team, absolutely. But to me, being an undefeated Power 5, when you've done everything you need to do, and for me, winning those games on the road with a second string quarterback, and then the third string, I just think that proved that he was coaching well. And people are like, well, they had to use the Wildcat to score a point. Okay.
Well, listen, here's my spiel on it. Look, I'm not going to sit here and argue that Alabama isn't better than Florida State when Florida State doesn't have Jordan Travis. I think I could argue that Alabama may be better than Florida State when they do have Jordan Travis.
Yep.
But what we're talking about is the regular season losing any value. I'm not talking about just the beginning of the regular season. Some people are like, well, teams are different. Well, then don't count the beginning of the regular season. Then we might as well not even play the regular season. If we're not going to start caring about things until week 7, then we might as well not play. I'd never schedule anybody. I'd schedule nothing but terrible cupcake teams out of conference. Now, that's what it's telling you. But by not allowing Florida State in, because if we were comparing a 12-1 Bama and a 12-1 Florida State, put Bama in.
It would be close.
If we were comparing a 13-0 Alabama and a 13-0 Florida State for that 4th spot, and you put Alabama in, I could understand it. But that's not what we're comparing. Florida State won all of their games. Games should matter. Winning should matter. And we're not talking about Liberty that's 12-0 with a group of 5 schedule. We are talking about a Power 5 team that plays a good schedule in a Power 5 conference that won their Power 5 conference. And I know why the committee did it. I'll get to that in a second. But I hear people keep talking about this injury factor in the criteria, number 1. Okay, well, that is one of many factors in the criteria, and only one in which Alabama really outdoes Florida State. Obviously, strength of record is another, but with Florida State, they check off a lot of those boxes, and they're undefeated. So if it in that set of rules, if it said this rule, the injury rule, usurps every other rule. If everything is close, you go to this one and it'll be an injuries battle. Then I would say, okay, I get it. But that's not it. You can't look at one factor in a group of criteria and say that it matters more than all the other factors when that's not laid out in what it says. Number 2, nobody's been able to explain this one to me. This is the one. If Florida State is so bad that they cannot be put in over Alabama at any cost, then how are they still ranked ahead of Georgia and Ohio State? So either you just did that because you could do it out of convenience, which I'll get to in a second, or you wanted to make that TV show at the end as high in ratings as possible, which I understand, right? But when it starts affecting the importance of the regular season, then I have a problem with it. If they were going to drop Florida State, they should have done it after North Alabama. If they were going to drop Florida State, they should have done it after Florida. But they didn't because they wanted to build up an audience for that last TV show. If they dropped Florida State after Florida, nobody would have watched. Everybody would have known pretty much the 4 teams that were getting in. The only question would have been, will Georgia get in? Which they couldn't do because Texas beat Alabama during the regular season. So when you totally negate the whole regular season of a Power 5 team in a Power 5 conference, you don't drop them until the last possible moment. And when you do drop them, you do not drop the other 2 teams that are inherently better than them without Jordan Travis, right? You only use one of the factors in the criteria, and then you try and convince me that it's not about you making more money by getting an SEC team. And I'm an SEC guy. If you know who I am, I'm an SEC guy. I'm like Jon Snow in Game of Thrones right now, taking this stance. But it at the end of the day, it doesn't make sense. So 2 things I think allow them to do it. One, you're going from a 14 playoff to a 12-team playoff. They'll never have this problem again when it comes to an undefeated Power 5 conference champion. We'll argue over the 11th seed. We'll argue over the 12th seed. We'll argue over, this team should have been the 7th seed instead of the 8th, but they're still all in. We won't have the same argument over an undefeated Power 5 conference team, right? And to me, the second reason they did it is because it was a convenient way for them to pocket, I don't know, another $150 million or something like that with ESPN. So to me, I think it's bad for the sport. It's people talk about watering down the regular season by adding playoff teams. I don't want to hear anybody else talk about watering down the regular season that was for Florida State coming in. I don't want to hear anybody else make fun of the SEC or anybody for playing a cupcake team the second week before, when obviously it doesn't matter when you play 2 out-of-conference teams from the league that just jumped you, and you're in a league that had a better record than the team from the league that just jumped you. Some of us need to stop being naive. I'm telling everybody out there, if you think that in every other business in the world that makes money, and college football is a billion-dollar industry, that this game, college football, is not run by people with money, and every other business is, there's politics in every other business, then you're out of touch, right? So to me, I do think it was a travesty. I think it's obvious, why they did it. Do I think Alabama's better than Florida State? Yes, I probably think they're better than Florida State with Jordan Travis, but I think Georgia's better than Washington. I think Ohio State's probably better than Washington. So why is Washington in? I'm surprised they didn't screw over the Pac-12, considering the Pac-12 disappearing next year. Were they going to slap you back?
Absolutely, man. I love the points you just brought up, because when you hit some of those points on your show, I was jumping up on the countertop screaming. I was like, you do that, Jake, because like you said, being kind of Jon Snow in the Battle of the Bastards, you're an SEC guy, so we appreciate that. And it's the false equivalency that you talk about. It's like, well, somebody was going to be left out. Somebody's feelings were going to be hurt anyways. Well, no. Bama lost on the field. Texas lost on the field. Those kids had an opportunity. And it's like all of a sudden, since Bama played in the SEC championship, you want to talk about their strength of record. Well, it jumps over Florida State's, which is 3rd, and jumps to number 2. Their strength of schedule jumps up. That's
why 13 is greater than 12. 13 is greater than 12.
Absolutely.
And I don't
it's a different story. No, you're fine, man.
But again, here's what I say. Here's what I think they should have done. Who would have gotten pissed if they made it a 16 playoff? I wouldn't have gotten pissed.
Nobody.
I don't know anybody that would have been like, no, that's awful. I hate that. You'd have made more money, right? You'd have had more commercials. You're making the rules up as you go anyway. Hell, let's do it. Let's make it a meritocracy. But you have people saying, oh, look at how Florida State looked down the stretch. You mean down the stretch when they won by double digits in a rivalry game in the swamp with a backup quarterback?
Like a damn Big Ten team?
Yeah. You mean down the stretch where they beat a top 12 Louisville team who had beaten Notre Dame, who's a pretty damn good ball club, with basically a kindergartner at quarterback, when you knew you had to stop them almost every single time? Football is the ultimate team sport. Ultimate team sport. All right. And you have some people that at ESPN that you saw flip-flop like within 4 days.
Oh my goodness.
If that doesn't tell you, I don't know what else tells you. But here's my thing. If Jalen Milroe or J.J. McCarthy or Michael Penix or Quinn Ewers get hurt in bowl practice and they cannot play in the game, you have to put Georgia in. You have to put them in. I don't care if it's a week before. By this thinking, because that's all that matters. Record doesn't matter, right? It's winning by double digits at the end doesn't matter. It just to me, I think you really saw football, college football, take the biggest, and there's politics and everything, political plunge, the biggest money grab plunge that I have seen ever probably in my life, honestly, if we're going to be true.
So greedy and right at the end of the year.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. But they've been showing you all year. If you really go back, go look at that first one when the committee said, listen, it's not about last year. It's not about 2 years ago. It's about what you've done this year. So that's why we put Ohio State 1. But Florida State, with the third best strength of schedule, now we're going to put them at 4.
And
so
they started this before UNA. This started before UNA.
Jordan Travis was running around just lighting people up, and they still had him at 4. So, again, once you realize it's a TV show, that's what it is.
Yep.
It's a TV show, and it's about money. And the thing is, the on-the-field product is as good as it's ever been. And that's why college football is still amazing. But you're going to 12-team playoff. They can brush this one under the rug. They just happen to get caught in the last year of the 14 playoff having to make a controversial decision, and they showed you that they are on the side of ESPN. Like, you think ESPN and the SEC don't have a hand in this? Like, they're just, I recuse myself, guys. The ACC, we're trying to break down the ACC because, you have teams trying to get out. To me, it's obvious, man. It's right in front of your face. And look, the games will probably be great. I'm going to be breaking them down. I'm going to be analyzing them, but I hurt for the players. That's who I hurt for.
Well, I'm on a draft now for Michigan and Washington fans to draft me as a fan. It's cool. I'm not sure which one I'm going to go with. I don't know any Washington fans, so, maybe they can make a case for it. But, I mean, just because, I live in Memphis, so this is, we don't have, like, Washington fans around here. We got quite a few Michigan fans, but that's my draft. I'm up for grabs. But I think if you look at it reasonably, if we're talking like the last 10 years, right, of the playoff, my thought was the argument should have always been, if it was years past, between Texas and Alabama, which I understand the head-to-head, but they've taken so much weight on team improvement and Jalen Milroe's improvement, and they've gotten away with bringing in a team before because they said they had a better loss, right?
Yeah.
Basically. Alabama played one more game and they lost it. They had one more ranked opponent and they lost it.
But you could have had, I would think Texas, you could have honestly made a case to have Alabama jump in, leave Texas out. I mean, to me, because the Big 12 is not great either.
No, it's gone after next year. That's for all intents and purposes an SEC team.
Look. Here's, and again, it's going to be totally different with 12. Here's what I think would have happened if Georgia would have beat if Alabama would have lost to Auburn and had 2 losses and then went and beat Georgia in the SEC championship. Do not think for a second they wouldn't have possibly left Florida State out for Georgia as well, right? Or if it knocked Alabama out, now Texas is vulnerable because they don't have that head-to-head. That's why Texas got in. When Alabama beat Georgia, that gave Texas the best win in the country. Yep. That's what it did. People say that Alabama beating Georgia was the best win in the country. No. Alabama beating Georgia is the second best win in the country. The best win in the country after Alabama beat Georgia was Texas going to Tuscaloosa and beating them by double digits.
Which is why you can see where they have them ranked as 3, right? Because, if you look at the losses, right, wouldn't Alabama's loss technically be worse or better than Texas's because Texas is ranked higher than what Oklahoma is?
To me, again,
it's just wild.
We're trying to compare something that is not even. It's not even. Texas and Alabama, even record. We can compare that in the Power 5. I'm not talking about Liberty because people say, oh, well, what happens if New Mexico State goes undefeated? Are they going to put them in? No, I'm talking about the Power 5. All right, that's what I'm talking about. So you've got an undefeated Michigan. They're in easy, right? Boom. Easy. And I think they should be in.
Yeah.
Undefeated Washington, they're in. They should be in. They're undefeated in the Pac-12 in the best year they've had. They beat Oregon twice. We know what they can do offensively. They'll always have a fighting chance. All right, then it comes down Florida State. The undefeated should be in. What is different in Florida State, Michigan, and Washington? Overall
Absolutely.
record, nothing. Those three should have been the shoo-ins. The question should have came down to, all right, we really have 4 one-loss teams that we have to consider. Alabama, Texas, Ohio State, and Georgia. Those are the 4 teams we have to consider. All right, to me, obviously Alabama beats Georgia. Texas beat Alabama. That puts Texas in front of everybody. Ohio State did not win their conference or their division. So Ohio State is out. So now it comes down to Georgia, Texas, and Alabama. Of those 3, it should have gone Texas, then Alabama, then Georgia. Texas would have been the 4th seed because they had that win over Alabama. In a normal functioning situation, that's how it should be. But you cannot take an injury. I don't care. I don't care who is hurt. Football, Gus Malzahn, I think, said it fantastically. I thought a championship team was a team that was able to overcome adversity, a team that was able to galvanize. And let's not act like Florida State doesn't have a bunch of other first rounders running out there, and that Tate Rodemaker is basically just Timmy from South Park. Like that's not true. Tate doesn't have to be Dan Marino to throw a jump ball to Johnny Wilson down the field or hit somebody that's open. So to me, the argument sucks because you're comparing 2 things that are not equal. Again, I'll say what I said at the beginning. If it came down to Florida State that was 12-1 and Bama was 12-1, or Florida State was 13-0 and Bama was 13-0, put Bama in. Yeah. I'm right there with you. But that's not what happened.
Yeah, it's back to the false equivalency. Florida State, like you said, should have been right there with Michigan and Washington, undefeated Power 12 champions. Not Power 12, Power 5 champs, so you put them in. But you hit it on the head when you said Texas won out, Bama beats Georgia. They were in a spot where Texas had that win over Bama, so at that point, you have to put them in, and they were not. And it was what everybody says: you can't leave out the SEC champion. You can't. So they put them in. But it's like, why is that? Why is it that Florida State and the ACC is treated like Liberty over the Pac-12, which doesn't even exist no more? The Big 12. It's going to be a shell of itself next year once Texas and Oklahoma head to the SEC. Meanwhile, the ACC has 3 of the last 10 titles. What is that? 3. This would have been 3 of the 9 playoff appearances. But for whatever reason, they act like the ACC is the American. I get it. You don't have as many top tier names, but Clemson's been there 6 times. Florida State would have been there 2 times. Why is it that the ACC is treated like the redheaded stepchild of college football? It's like you're not a Power 5, they said, basically.
Well, here's the thing. If the roles were reversed, there's no way in hell that Florida State would have gotten in. There's no way that if the roles were reversed,
exactly.
There's no way that Florida State would have gotten in over an undefeated Alabama. There's no way.
No.
Look, here's the truth. The truth is this is like a Trunch Bowl moment from Matilda. And like I said, I'm an SEC guy. I'm big, you're small. I'm strong, you're weak. I can do what I want because the 2 big dogs in college football, it's no surprise, are the Big Ten and the SEC. We're probably heading for 2 super conferences that are really a huge umbrella, one for the SEC that'll be linked to ESPN, the other one for the Big Ten that will be linked to Fox. Just look who's going there. This is just another shot saying, what are you going to do about it? What's Ron DeSantis going to do about it? Nothing's going to happen. What's Rick Scott going to do about it? Nothing's going to happen. Well, you're not going to be able to change it. So this, again, it was out of convenience. Right?
If Wazoo and Oregon State would have won, would they have been shoo-ins like Washington?
No, here's the thing. I think Washington would have been next on the chopping block if it didn't come down to Florida State.
I agree.
Because the Pac-12 is gone. Like I said, what are they going to do? Tag you back? That's not how this works. Listen, at the end of the day, this is like when the mayor's kid starts at shortstop, even though he didn't earn it. Right? That's what this is. And
been there too.
And some people will say, oh, well, it's Alabama. Alabama is better than Florida State. Yeah. They are better than Florida State. But Georgia's better than Washington. If we're just going to go by who has the most talent and who is going to be favored by a sporting book on a neutral site, then if you really care about player safety, don't play the regular season. Let's just do this. Let's add the NFL draft projections for this upcoming class, which you can get before the year. Let's combine those with the recruiting rankings of all the players on the roster and the top 4 teams that the computer spits out. Let's just let them play. Nobody else has to player safety. Nobody will ever. It'll make injuries go down like 99.5% because the regular season doesn't matter. I'll say what I said on my kind of opening the show that went viral. Right, Florida State played a whole season for no reason at all in the Power Five. They played for no reason. You played a whole season for absolutely no reason, and you can try and sit here and argument and this, that, and the other. But there's so many holes in the argument. If I hear the term the 4 best teams again, I'm gonna puke. Why don't we just put the 4 best teams in the Final Four for college basketball? Why don't we just do that? Why don't we just do it? We never see any upsets. You never.
Well, 2 weeks ago, Oregon was in.
Four. And another thing. Everybody talks about, Georgia murdered TCU last year. You didn't need to be Sherlock Holmes to figure out A, who committed that murder, right? Or 2, when it happened. That 65-7 was the ugly number. But people gloss over the fact that TCU team beat Michigan. They don't ever talk about that.
Mm-hmm.
They don't ever talk about that.
But Michigan's they're the number one locked in, and JJ McCarthy, his stats were worse than Brock Glenn's. It's like lose me with that. Ohio State's best win is what Notre Dame, and what happened when Notre Dame played Louisville? But they're treated like this Martian team from left field. When they lost to Kentucky, that was the final nail in the coffin. But sorry, Jen, I didn't mean to cut you off. It's just
no,
so fired up.
Didn't. I think what I was going to say is the fact that they didn't even let these kids have a chance.
Yes.
Have a chance on the field.
Nothing they could have did.
Honestly, and I could be dumb, but I think with Florida State's defense, they would have had a chance against Michigan. I don't think that would have been a blowout. I don't.
Yeah, I think they'd had a.
I could have made it interesting. Is what I'm saying.
With Tate Rodemaker, stylistically, that would have been a much better matchup. I think. As crazy as all this is, and again, I'll go back to I do believe. Right. That look, Alabama may win this thing. I think Michigan. It is a bad style fight for Michigan against Alabama.
I agree. I agree.
I don't think that's really what they wanted to see. But at the end of the day, we're talking about meritocracy, right? And people say, life isn't fair. You know what? If they were both 12-1, you're right. I'm right there with you. If they were both 13-0, you're right. I'm right there with you. But if I go make more sales than you throughout the whole year, if I make more sales than you, and you win Salesman of the Year. Excuse my language. That's bullshit. That's not the way that this should work. Excuse my language.
Participation trophy. Fine. You're fine on here, man.
I'm about meritocracy. I'm about meritocracy, right? I don't have a dog in this fight. I don't have.
That's what college football is supposed to be. It's what it's supposed to be, Jake.
If Alabama wins it, that's great. But I still think it's the wrong decision.
Yeah,
I got a scenario. Go ahead,
I just think they should have been able to prove it on the field. If they got blown out, whatever, because they were 13-0. You can't compare TCU because TCU lost the game and they didn't win their championship, and yet they were in, obviously, because Alabama had 2 losses.
What a difference a year makes.
Wow. But I mean, I'm just saying. Why does that matter, though?
It doesn't.
If this happened, then why does Alabama having 2 losses matter when TCU only had 1 loss?
Yeah.
Like, what's the difference? So now that's the barrier? So you're going to go ahead and flip it? Again, it doesn't make sense, and they can't explain it because it's contradictory, right? Because it's not by the book, right? This was purely done for the reasons that we've listed and that we've talked about. That there's no order. There's no sense of order of, okay, this is why. That injury rule usurps all the other factors, guys. We got to go with this. I could say, okay, you're right. You're right, but that's not what it is. And again, it's been kind of unfortunate to see all these people flip-flop in their opinions.
It's
Dan Orlovsky looking at you.
Like, we respected some of these people so much, and it's like now it's like apparently only Booger
Greg
McFarland
McElroy
and you
looking at you
are invited to the barbecue. It's wild. But I did want to say one thing before you have to get off. I know you need to go, but I don't think a lot of people understand why Florida State fans are so outraged. I think they do understand, but we have these conspiracy theories. We know it. But ESPN keeps proving us right. Okay. They do. In 2013, when Jameis and that team was blowing everybody out, they said, you can't win because, or you're not that great because you haven't had any adversity, right? You won games by too much. That's what they said. Now they did make it to the BCS because the computers put them in there. But ESPN all that year was like, I don't know if they can win this game because they, we don't know if they should be there. They haven't had any adversity, right? 2014 comes around, first year of the playoff. They have close games. Oh my God, we have to invent game control now. It's been
disappeared for 9 years.
You're trying to. Here's the problem. You're trying to make it to make it make sense that it's contradictory. You don't have to prove it. It's already proven itself. Like there is no hard line. All right, guys. You open up the book that says open when there's an emergency and there's like rules that are listed in order. There is not that. That book does not exist, right?
And they went outside the scope too.
Projections, that's what exists. Ratings, that's what exists. The bottom line, that's what exists. So trying to you're going to keep finding inconsistencies. You want to know why? Because you're digging in a field full of inconsistencies. You're going to keep finding one after the other, after the other, after the other. And I've laid out as many as possible. Like I've laid out as many as possible. And I'll go back to obviously it sucks for the fan base, and I'm not a Florida State fan. Like I have
of course not. Yeah.
But I'm not a Florida State fan. But I know the work it takes to do what those guys did. I know the work it takes to do what those coaches did, what the trainers did, what the video guys did, what the grounds crew did, what the cheerleaders did. And as a fan, you go through all these ups and downs. You have the waiting during the off season, and the season gets here, and you go through these ups and downs, and oh no, it's a disaster at the end, but we find a way, guys. We did it. We won it. We won our last 2 games by double digits. We're gonna get a shot, and then you don't, and you have no control. It's the same reason why I get nervous when I fly. I have no control. I don't.
Right.
If something goes wrong, I just have to live or die with what goes down. So it's a very helpless feeling. And, you should be upset.
Yeah.
In my opinion, you should be pissed off. And again, it's going to a 12-team playoff. So listen, this is going to get swept under the rug. Like it's going to be so crazy next. And listen, next year, ESPN will love you guys. Oh, they'll love you. There'll be more stories. Fox will have Tom Rinaldi. He'll do one that make you cry about some FSU fan that got super let down and, went and helped out the soup kitchen for a year and a half. Like it'll just be something.
Can you imagine like Mike being in the room with them right now? Like I don't know if you saw the Orange Bowl like press conference that he was shoved on that day, which was brutal to make him even do that.
Well, I'm not doing it. No, we're national champions. I'm claiming it. Minute, if I'm Mike Norvell, because I know he had to know before. He had to know before. That's why he was looking like that, sitting in that chair before they announced it. But the minute I saw that A for the 4th spot, I'm standing up. Hey, turn it off. I'm standing up. Guys, let me congratulate you. You are 2023 national champions.
Yeah.
I'm putting out hype videos. We're getting rings. We're middle finger picture to the Orange Bowl. Now we're the bad boys again. See, here's if Mike Norvell ever had, this is his infinity stone. This is it, right? This is your chance. Bad boy Florida State needs to come back.
Bad boy for life.
The days of Florida State walking out and you being scared to death to see that jersey need to come back. They need to be pissed off. They need to be ready for action next year. And no prisoners. Absolutely no prisoners. I would not be shocked if Florida State comes out. We'll see what happens in the portal, this, that, and the other. I know it's going to hurt them in recruiting, being in the ACC, and they're going to try to get out. But bad boy Florida State needs to come back. Chip on the shoulder, Florida State. Not, feel sorry for us, Florida State. Please help us. Please change, sir. Change. No, not that. The bully Florida State.
We're going to prove it on the field.
Needs go. You know what I'm saying? Like that era needs to come back after this. Maybe this could ignite it. I don't know. But it's an unfortunate situation.
Well, and they have Georgia and Alabama scheduled.
Yeah, and let me throw this on I know you got to get out of here like right now. So right before you get out of here, you talked about it. Jim brought up the Orange Bowl. I was on the fence, but it looks like Mike Norvell, his identity, they're playing in this Orange Bowl game against UGA. Okay, so let's say Bama, Texas, they win, 1 loss. Florida State brings that identity you're talking about, sacks Carson Beck. they beat Georgia. They're the only undefeated remaining Power 5 team. In that case, this isn't a UCF situation. You claim that son of a bitch. You're national champions in
Now,
my
here's
book.
the thing, though. Here's the thing, though. Like, unprecedented times call for unprecedented measures. We're national champions. Hey, here's the thing. You got guys hopping in the portal. It's about Georgia. Carson Beck's coming back. I don't think it's going to be a good situation against Georgia.
I don't either. I agree.
I'm not saying be scared and don't play. I'm not saying. I don't even want to put that up. Guys, listen.
They've got crazy depth, so you understand.
We went 13 out of the regular season in a Power 5 conference. They left us out. They gave us no choice. Y'all made us do this. I didn't make us do this. All we did was go out and win all of our games. So to me, no, there is no, I don't care. We're not playing. Here's what we're going to be doing. We're getting everybody, all right? We're getting together. We're going to throw a huge national championship parade. Well, all of it, the whole nine. I'm talking about the whole city coming out.
Like in Destin.
Listen, there's teams, Bama claims like national championships during World War II. What?
With 4 losses, where they're like third in the SEC.
You go 13-0 in 2023, and this one don't count? No, look, statues last a long time. A long time.
Well, we sure appreciate you, Jake.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it so much.
I know you're up against the wall.
Yeah,
no, you're up against that.
Got a lot going on. Obviously, the movie's out, Lady Ballers. It's the #1
It's amazing.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I'm just blown away by the response. It's been incredible.
I watched it. I downloaded it. Watched it yesterday. I haven't totally finished it. I have a sick child. I have to admit.
Yeah. You'll love it.
But it was so good. Even my 7-year-old girl was just dying laughing at it while she was.
It took 20 years, but we got a Juwanna Man sequel that is like this blow your tits off funny, guys. Go watch it. And the hypocrisy, it came awful close to home, man. It came all the way to College Football Playoff Committee. So go check out Lady Ballers. And, it's like Fallon Fox and the whole insanity of the past couple years. Yeah. Where you stand on politics, there shouldn't be grown men cracking women's skulls out here.
State is getting left out as nuts. Wait till I tell you this story.
Oof.
Oh my goodness!
But, all right, y'all.
Like actual females not being allowed to play in female sports.
Yeah, it's a bad situation, but no, I appreciate you guys.
Absolutely, man. Thanks,
so
Jake.
Much. Bye.
Man, he's the best. He's the best.
Yeah,
he really.
That was a great rant. I loved every minute of it.
So glad we got him on here. When I heard he did a little bit less of a version of that on the Crain and Company show, and I was like I said earlier, I was jumping up and down. So I'm glad he came on here and did that. And as a SEC guy, I mean, coming from him, it's coming from a place of just the place of a college football fan. And like he said, he played the game, so he knows. His brother was a football player. His other host, David Cohn, was a quarterback at Michigan. So they know what it's like to go out there and put it all out on the field.
He was also pretty upset about Florida State getting left out. Yeah. So
did you see Spear Addicts? I didn't get a chance to mention it because Jake had to get out of here and he was ranting. But yeah, Spear Addicts talking about some big news coming up here in the next hour.
I am wondering.
I'm not sure. I haven't talked to Chris. Chris has been super busy. I've been busy working.
Can we get him to jump? Hey, Chris, can you jump in here maybe? Like, I don't know.
He's saving it.
I'm kidding.
He's saving his for an hour. But look, guys, if you see the poster, those of you guys, if you're just getting in here, we had Jake Crain talking about the Florida State situation. But another half of that poster is a sort of mystery outline with a question mark there. So there's a lot of action in the portal. Everybody knows they're after Cam Ward. Everybody knows that kind of situation between DJU possibly coming in here. But there's some other names. There's some names that have been floated around the past couple of years from teams, maybe another team that got left out of the playoff, maybe a team you're going to play, in a bowl game. There's a lot of players, a lot of good players with ties to Florida State. Florida State didn't recruit that great in high school the last 2 or 3 years preceding this class, but there's a lot of guys that they missed on that possibly could come home. There's a #1 player in the entire nation, who is either doing an amazing troll job on Florida State, or it looks like the prediction here at the Renegade Rundown is pretty good. I predicted, and this wasn't, it it's an educated guess. I know I was really confident on Kai Bates. I had legitimate info there, but I was honest with you guys on Jeremiah Smith and Coy Parrish. It is more just a projection and how I see it as an outsider looking in. Well, we might see 2 out of 3 sooner than later on Jeremiah Smith. Either that or he's trolling the absolute hell out of us and he's going to Miami. But I don't think the latter is the case. And yeah, guys, we love Spearheadic. So I believe they're 8 Eastern. So a little less than an hour from now, after we get off of here, they got some big news to drop. But yeah, it's been nuts.
You message me since I will be on another show.
That's right. And Jen is going to be filling in over at the Roll Up, and they go on for like 3 hours. So you'll be able to go there and check her out.
Yes.
As well for that. It's a crazy time in college football right now to deal with this stuff. And look, I'm on board with Florida State going and kicking Georgia's ass in the bowl. Take no prisoners. James gave an impassioned speech on the Voice of College Football show yesterday about what it's like to get to go to these bowl games. It's a whole experience. It's a package for these kids. They get money put in their pocket. They get technology put in their pocket. They get to stay in the nicest hotel they've ever stayed in their entire life. So you want the kids that are coming back for next year, the kids who are bought in and don't have a draft to get ready for and all that stuff that want to play, you want them to go have that experience. And Jake didn't talk about it long, but he kind of hinted at, look, it's going to be tough for Florida State because UGA has crazy depth and third stringers on third stringers. So if you pretty much take, however many players we're going to lose to the portal, yeah, it's going to hurt us maybe a little bit more than it will Georgia. But at the end of the day, this defense is going to come ready to play. And I have all the confidence in the world that this defense is going to be able to shut down what Georgia does on offense enough to make this thing a damn good game. But yeah, guys, I don't think you guys really are ready for what the transfer portal is about to be like. And, I know a lot of people have said 5 to 7. Some people like myself have said 10 to 12, but people are finding out really fast. And what they're finding out is that the attrition rate this year is going to be higher due to the fact that, look, we got to clear space for these guys. You can't bring in 10 to 12 portal guys and 30 high school guys without clearing space. These exit interviews started weeks ago. They've been going on. You guys are seeing guys start to enter the portal. I believe we're up to 8 or 9 now. Okay. I believe it's going to be 10 to 15 before it's over. Quayshawn Sapp, you hate to see him go, but guys, he couldn't get on the field over Maurice Smith. And that's a sign of what's to come. That offensive line is only going one direction with the talent. You hate to see him go, but you hope he finds somewhere he can ball out. Same thing with Bless Harris. You've got Julian Armella, who is not going to be denied. He's going to be a starter in 24. You've got Lucas Simmons, who finally got his eligibility squared away, and it's not going to be long before he's going to be on the field. But now certain guys, Patrick Payton, when we were live, I believe it was Sunday, he actually, put a tweet out talking about he might enter the portal, but he didn't actually enter the portal, this and stuff. Look, if you follow the site and you kind of our tweets between me and Jen, it was kind of a thing about money. And sure enough, the tweets got deleted. And I think Pat Payton is staying. But yeah, the portal, this class that they bring in out of the portal is going to be unlike all others. The first couple were diamonds in the rough, looking for guys here and there. Last year we got a bunch of top flight guys, but this year it's going to be a bunch of Keon Coleman's, a bunch of legit top guys like Jake was talking about. Florida State is on demon time. We're bringing in the high school guys, we're bringing in the portal guys, and it's going to be a ton of fun. But
I'm kind of excited about tonight. I think I'm kind of looking forward to see what this is. Like, I'm dying, really.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff.
Surprises. I don't know if you were that kid on Christmas Eve. I don't know if you were that kid on Christmas Eve. That gosh, I can't sleep.
Chris says, "Don't be surprised now. Don't be surprised on who we get. It's coming.
All right,
it is coming.
Is it who I think it is? I wonder."
I'm sure it is. I'm sure it is who you're thinking, Jen. You have been pretty good for the luck of the channel, and you've been just amazing. So I wouldn't doubt it. Everything you touch turns to gold. So.
Oh, and that's sweet. Somebody must be kissing up for a reason. I hear that.
Would you got? Well, I want to get who you're thinking of because I think I know who you're thinking of.
I'm thinking.
But yes. Any man would be smart to kiss up to the beautiful Jen Knoll.
Let's see.
Would
I
you
can send
guys
you
grab a
message.
quarterback out of the portal? Yeah, go ahead
Yes.
and do that for sure. Well, on the 4-9, the other number. But yeah,
My
would you guys
phone's,
grab a quarterback out of the portal or try to use what we have next year? No, look, guys, that conversation is past. If there's the guy out there, you go get him. If Cam Ward's that guy, you go get him. And yes, that's the exact person that I'm thinking about. If you've been following the tea leaves, and there's been guys, look, the name has been said in the comments of who I'm thinking. But you'll have to watch Spear Addicts at 8 Eastern to find out, or whenever they get ready to let you guys know. But yeah, dude, I mean, if you bring in
so who do you think the quarterback's going to be? Like, do you I think Cam Ward's going to Ohio State.
I know. I want him though. That's who I want. Like,
I mean, I said that for I agree, but I also think I mean, I'm not trying to just I think DJ is good.
Yeah, oh yeah, there's no doubt. He took a lot of flack at Clemson.
I just think, Cam Ward really is he's almost a game changer in that you can't not take him in the portal if he's willing to come there. But, oh my God. All right, Chris, you're really just messing me up here. I can't concentrate. I'm like a kid on Christmas Eve. Okay.
I think he was talking about rumors about 5 teams going to the Big 12. No, Chris is coming with bigger shit than that. And if you follow Spear Addicts at all on any of the shows we've done together, no, Big 12, that ain't it for sure. Look, guys, Florida State is not effing around. Okay, when you're talking about breaking big news about Florida State getting a commitment, you're talking about somebody who is the best in the nation at their position. You're talking about guys like that. You're talking about shit that makes the front page of the newspaper, not some borderline 4-star or not some, this or that transfer portal projection guy. So y'all just wait and see. This is the time of the year. I've been trying to tell people all year. Everybody said, oh, well, Florida State's bringing in 30 guys out of the high school portal. They're going to take it, or not the high school portal, out of high school recruiting. They're not going to be so hard in the portal. They're just going to put a Band-Aid here, a Band-Aid there. I'm telling you guys, Mike Norvell is not going to slow down this train or stop leveraging the transfer portal, of which he has made himself the destination. When you look across the nation, who has taken transfer portal players and done better with him? Do you think these guys don't know? Do you think these guys, when they hit the portal, they don't know who the draft prospects are for the 2024 NFL draft? Do they not know? You think they don't know how many Florida State guys that are transfer portal guys in just a year or two after coming somewhere and barely even having snaps in some cases have become first and second round draft picks? You think they don't know about that? It's big shit coming to Florida State's way. They're going to sign a squad full of all-stars, literal all-stars. They're going to go grab South Carolina's best player again. They're going to go grab this team's best player again. And they might grab some best players off some teams that you wouldn't believe it, from conferences that they deem better than the ACC. But also, yeah, guys, if you listen to us, if you listen to Spear Addicts, you also know that we will get the hell out of this conference. Do not worry. And what was your out? You said your out was 7:40 Eastern?
Yeah, but I just got a message that a certain person was in a little bit of a car accident or in traffic or something. So we're going to start at 7 instead of 6:40.
You're talking about, we're talking on Eastern time. You're talking about your time. Yeah, but we're talking Eastern time.
I get confused.
So 8 Eastern.
This is why I overbooked.
You're saying we're good. We got plenty of time. So do you want to take some calls then?
Mm-hmm.
So we will throw the number up, guys, if you have any questions, because I know there's a lot of questions about the transfer portal, about the high school recruiting that's going on, about everything. So we will throw the number up there, and you guys can text or call in, get your questions, and we'll get you through to me and Jen before we get out of here. I guess we got another 20 minutes then or so.
Yeah, I'm gonna just respond to something real quick.
Go ahead. You're good.
We might need me too. Let me just say
okay. Jen is about to hit the bat phone, guys.
No,
so you never know.
It's not like that. I'm just saying who it was from. I can't even get my phone to like swipe up. I swear. I'm so technology challenged, George. I shouldn't be.
Eric D, who are you to talk down on a 4-star player? I am not talking down on any 4-star players, guys. So there's some 4-star players, 3-star players, 2-star players out there that could end up being the absolute best player on your team. But when you're talking about breaking news and kind of commitments that, shake the entire nation, it's typically not a low 4-star. But no, nothing against 4 stars, man. 4 stars, 3 stars, 2 stars. I want dogs. I want the dudes that when you turn the tape on, you see Florida State football getting played. So whether that's a 3-star, 4-star, or 5-star, it does not matter. But again, guys, if you have any questions for me and Jen, get them up on the screen, and we will get them read and get them answered for sure. All the talk about possibly boycotting the Orange Bowl and all that stuff, that's put to bed. This staff, they hit the road recruiting. I'm sure you probably, guys, I should mention, you heard the whole thing about there wasn't a press conference, but that was no more than Kirby Smart and Mike Norvell were out on the road recruiting, and they weren't gonna, it was just a conflict of interest to do whatever that press conference was. So they were out there.
Caring.
Yeah, well, they were out there making shit happen on the road, and that was not it. The game is not getting boycotted. These guys are going to go out there and play their asses off, and I hope to God that we can smoke Georgia's ass right there on the field, right in front of everybody, and show them just who Florida State is and just how we can compete with any team in the nation, which in their heart of hearts, they know it. It's, because basically Florida State became a Big Ten team because their starting quarterback went down. And they did it better than all the Big Ten teams, but it just wasn't allowed. So we just need to get our ass to the Big Ten, and then we won't have to worry about it. Ain't that right, King Spleen?
Yep.
FSU to the Big Ten. The money is there. A suspected loan from the Big Ten. We don't need a loan. Just get us over there and pay us our money, and we'll be just right.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you on that. I've been pretty bullish that it was going to be the Big Ten if it ever came down to it. And I don't think I'm actually 100% sure nothing's changed at that point.
And so let's put the man of the hour, the guy that's got us all waiting on our pins and needles. What's going on, Chris?
Well, first off, I'm going to ask everybody to pay attention to what's going on. You've heard all the rumors. I don't know if you've heard all the rumors, but you've at least seen that there's everybody media-wise coming out saying that there's big news to drop. There's this news that's going to drop, and there's that news that's going to drop. So where's it at? Right? Everybody's wondering, where is it at?
We're waiting on the news. Where's it at, Chris?
Well, I got permission to drop it, so I'm going to drop it when it's time to drop it, which I'm going to give people as much possible time to get on there to find out. But in the meantime, everybody's wondering about, what does it take for Florida State to win a national title? Quarterback with the last name that starts with a W, I would say.
That's absolutely right.
Oh, I like that.
I don't know if a U would work too good for us. Seeing how we don't like the U. I'm not too fond of Clemson blood myself, so we'll see what happens there. But I'm hearing really good things about the guy with the W, so I'm just going to roll with that because it sounds good. And a lot of people didn't catch Jeremiah Smith today, who verbally said that he was committed to Florida State. I can't believe that news didn't drop anywhere. He said it with his own mouth in an interview after the game.
It
did. I don't know where all that news went.
Yeah, we were talking about it. It's like either it's the biggest troll job in the world or the number one commit, like we predicted right here at the Renegade Rundown, is coming home. Because, the gloves, it was no fruiting slip. He just pretty much said, I'm committed to Florida State. It was freaking awesome.
Well, if people want to take it as trolling, I can understand it. I'm not taking it as trolling just based off everything else that I'm being told.
Final visits
with Florida State. So, there's another thing. LJ McCray's coming to Florida State this weekend to visit. Don't know how that could be possible. How could we land LJ McCray and KJ Bolton and Jeremiah Smith and Charles Lester, and I mean I can keep going if we need to, but I don't think we need to. I think everybody kind of gets it. I think you're kind of understanding what's happening. And the biggest way that you raise your middle fingers to the air of whoever says you aren't good enough is by getting everybody that's good enough. And then when you drop news that will be dropped about what you're doing to top that, to even more so of what you're getting, but what you're doing for those that you get. What are you doing for those that you get? That's the biggest question. Because what it says that FSU goes 13-0 again next year or the year after, that something similar doesn't happen. Oh, that's because they're having a 12-team playoff. That doesn't mean shit. Excuse me, but it doesn't. I don't care if it goes to 80 teams. That doesn't make a difference. If they can leave you out once, they can leave you out twice.
Yep.
They set that precedent, so
Be undeniable.
Yeah, and I'm going to put it like this. What scared the college football committee? Why ain't they talking no more? How come they took the website down?
Yeah, why'd they take off their contact page? That was funny, wasn't it, Chris?
Well, I think I know why. Because I think somebody's scared to get sued because there's a lot of collusion going on, and there's already proof to it.
Somebody's brother is the VP of communications at ESPN. We found that out today, Chris.
Yeah, I know. I seen that, which I've known that for like the last year and a half. But the point is, I didn't think it was a problem until now.
Mm-hmm.
But, so there's just tidbits to everything that I'm going to be talking about, and James will be on, and some others. But all I can tell people to do is either view it and watch it and take it serious, or call it bullshit. I don't really care, but don't say you didn't hear it, because I'm going to tell it.
Yeah, there's
Appreciate
no
y'all
doubt.
having me on. Y'all have a good rest of your show. I'm getting ready for mine. We'll see y'all later on tonight sometime, as far as our talk to you anyways.
Absolutely.
All right.
We will see you soon, Chris. We appreciate you for jumping in.
Thank you.
Y'all have a fantastic time, and I'll talk to y'all just in a little while.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Chris coming through, letting you guys know that the Renegade Rundown is not bullshitting you guys. Okay. When I got up here, what was it, 2 weeks ago, last week, and I told you guys that we were landing Kai Bates, bam, he landed. When I told you Jeremiah Smith was up next, and that regardless of what you see, just like the tight end that we got from Georgia, Landon Thomas, you don't visit 14, 15 times and not be serious. Okay. I'm glad Chris brought that up, because I didn't mention that. Yeah. Today, Jeremiah Smith legitimately, they said, how are you feeling? We see you got the Florida State shirt on. And he's like, well, it's coming down to, signing day and stuff, but right now just committed to Florida State. So yeah. And they get his final visit, so you get the final visit. He's wearing Florida State gloves. It's either the biggest troll job in all the entire history of the world, or he's a null like I predicted. And like, hopefully Chris is getting ready to tell his people. But yeah, I mentioned Cam Ward earlier. We were talking about whether it's Ward or Ukulele. Ward is that dude. That's what you want. You've had Winston. You've had Charlie Ward. Could we have Ward number 2? Listen, guys, Cam Ward should step in and run this offense. I mean, maybe as good or better than Jordan Travis right off the bat. I mean, he would be tailor-made to fit in kind of more. I think it would be kind of more in the middle, maybe, of what Travis was and what you had in Memphis. It could be, he could be the joystick player to add into this offense. It would be, just unreal to get him. And
Cool.
they're going to have weapons across the board for him, and big time playmakers.
So George, I want to say the first time I came on, you should probably go rewatch it,
Okay.
because I kind of mentioned in that it would be Cam Ward. I'm just saying.
I love it.
It wasn't
I love
me. I said he would be perfect. I didn't say they would get him. But I'm just saying that's kind of what I said.
Yeah, Cam Ward, man, you bring him over and you got national title aspirations right off the bat, because Florida State is bringing in a top class, like I was telling you guys, and they're not slowing down whatsoever. You bring him in, the offensive line, the trench warfare, as it may, is going to get better. Guys, we realize we counted on Bless Harris this year. Okay, we needed Quayshawn Sapp to be around, because if somebody went down, we had to have him be able to jump in at center, and ended up needing Darius Washington and other guys. So that's why those guys are leaving, because they were trying to do what they could. They couldn't count on Bless like they thought they could. So these guys are leaving because those replacements are in-house. I don't think people realize the jump Like, people think that this Florida State offensive line is kind of like what they were building to. No, this is what they were able to scrap together to be able to not blow up these young guys, to be able to bring these guys up the right way, to be built by storms. Lucas Simmons had eligibility issues. Okay, not like, oh, he didn't have a class, this or that. He's a transfer from Switzerland. There's all kind of different issues when you're one of those type of players. So he didn't even become eligible till the end of this year. But he's been behind the scenes getting ready. So you bring in Lucas Simmons, Julian Armella bookending the line, and then you have big time players, Rob Scott, who will probably play tackle to start out, and not Lucas Simmons, but if he can slide in at a guard, and then you have big guys, coming in that I'm sure more guys coming in this class. You're going to go out and get. It would not surprise me if Florida State signed the top 2 of the top 5 offensive linemen again this year, like they did last year, and like higher level guys. What you're seeing this year, Jen, I think, is like people know, like these kids have figured it out. They've seen what happens, what works. So it's really being used as a true free agency. We get a real free agency this year. And if you don't think Florida State is going to clean the hell up, I mean, you're crazy. But
I mean, I'm looking forward to it. I've always been looking forward to seeing what Mike does in the portal this year. So I guess we're just gonna wait and see.
Yeah, you guys, if you have any questions, keep them coming. I got one right here. That's a text question. Hey, G&J, we go play the Orange Bowl, do our job, and whip Georgia's ass. We have beat consistently. We have to be consistently the highest ranked team in the USA for 99% of the last 3 years. Let our high dollar legal reps sort it out and sift out the small stuff. Meme Dave. Yeah, I hear you. For the next 3 years, they're going to find out. They're going to feel Florida State and what we are about, for without a doubt. And Vaughn Meyer Jr. I wonder how much advice Mickey Andrews gave Adam Fuller to be a good defensive coordinator. Look, Mickey Andrews is just one of those dudes. He's one of those guys that when he shows up, you shut up and listen. I'm so jealous of James and all the different Florida State players that I've got to meet and talk to and hear about their times with him. If I had to guess what Mickey Andrews told Adam Fuller, it was nothing about playing, nothing about schematics or anything like that. It was, probably just telling him to tighten up and play through the echo of the whistle, if I had to guess of anything. But no, he's definitely been around that team and rubbing off on them. It's not lost on these young guys about the Mickey Andrews legacy and how great those guys were back in the day, because he gets up with the team regularly. Absolutely. It felt like a Mickey Andrews defense out there. And that's what I was talking about when I talked about all of a sudden Florida State looks like a Big Ten team out there, but it's not allowed, because that's what those Big Ten teams do. They play defense, they run the ball, and the quarterbacks, they game manage. They don't get you into trouble. And it's crazy. They held us to this crazy standard with Brock Glenn, and the dude had more passing yards than JJ McCarthy. It's like Iowa is, don't get me started. So the narratives are crazy, but yeah, you go out there and beat Georgia's ass. Yeah, 100%. You write it down. So I hope one of those one-loss teams wins it and we beat Georgia, because I'll damn sure write it down for the national championship. Or like Jake said, we might as well just claim it as is
now and not play the bowl game. Like I'm kind of with that. Like you go ahead to beat Georgia, and I think with all these players, you may not. There's going to be too many opting out, and I don't blame them for that. By the way, I don't. They were told every time they put on those jerseys and get out there and put their life on the line that it didn't matter. So I do not blame them for opting. Like ever in my life, never.
Yeah,
opt out. You do you. Go get your money, honey, because you deserve it.
But those guys that are left, those guys that decide to go play, you had better damn believe they're going to play with their hair on fire. And I've talked to you guys. We've talked about the high school guys that are coming in. We know they're still recruiting Joe Shiza Trader on top of Jeremiah Smith, like I've talked about. We know they're trying to flip LJ McCray. We know they're still trying to flip Artavius Jones. We know there's all these names out there. We know they're not done. We know the transfer portal, the names aren't quite really out there yet, outside of Cam Ward, but we know they're going to load up on some absolute studs out of the transfer portal. We know it. And I totally lost where I was going with that. But with these guys, they are bringing in the players that we need to compete at the highest possible level. And there's no doubt about it. Florida State's going to do it in the next couple of years. They're going to just leave no doubt in anybody's mind anymore. You know, Mickey said, bust them in the mouth, knock them down, and keep them there till the clock hits 0. Absolutely. Oh, that's what I was going to say. I talked about all those things, the portal, the high school kids, but one thing we haven't talked about also is guys coming back. I think there's going to be some guys that come back on this team that surprise people. So far, we know Johnny Wilson is going pro, Keon Coleman is going pro, but hold your horses, and we'll see just how many people come back. It might just surprise you. Who's coming back from this team? Don't think for a second that Florida State is going to take this line down and roll over and all the stuff. I've seen some kind of the negative connotations out there about how getting left out could affect recruiting and stuff. All it does is, it just siphons out the weak. Florida State is going to build something so badass and so strong and they're going to become the it team. They're going to be the team that they're going to be like how people saw Georgia 2 weeks ago and how they see Bama now. They're just going to be undoubtable. And that's where it is. Guys, we did all this shit with averaging 20 in high school recruiting. We're shooting for the number 1 recruiting class in the nation. You're not going to leave out a team that's the number one, got the number 1 recruiting class in the nation. They used every outside possible situation against Florida State. There's just going to be not anything left for them to use at some point in time, and that's what's coming. I love it. If we can get Ward, you get Ward in here with Hakeem Williams. Woo! Oh, I can't wait. I cannot wait. Cannot wait. Guys,
I mean, yeah, we'll see. I hope so. I mean, it would be great. So can you message me on Twitter while I'm online or on the next pod? Not that I would release any information, just let me know what I miss.
No, for sure. Definitely. I will definitely keep you up to date.
Because I won't have my text messages up,
Absolutely. We will definitely keep you in the know. That's what we do. It's a family, man. And like we had Chris on here. Chris has been on this podcast several times. I've been over there on Spear Addicts. Jim was just over there on Spear Addicts recently. We look out for each other. We're a pretty big group of guys. Rising tides rise all boats. And it's like we kind of look out for you. If somebody's out there bullshitting you or feeding you guys fake information, just keep it tuned in here, and keep it with I like to call it the new era media, but there's a number 1 wide receiver from Ohio State. What?
Oh, goodness.
What is that? A number 1 receiver from Ohio State. He's talking about getting guys in the portal from Ohio State. Ooh. Yeah, that's what people don't understand. This isn't Florida State is at a level of portal where they're not just looking to take the best guy off the FCS team. No, we're talking about the top dudes that leave Georgia, the top dudes who leave Ohio State. It's not the children of the poor anymore. And that's what's so ironic about what they did, because all the college football playoff committee did was just light that fire that much more. I think they're gonna make a run.
I hope so, but I should probably log off. So, or you want me to hop back in a little bit, or how do you want me to do that?
What do you mean?
To go jump on the next one I need to go on. Do you want me to hop back in a little bit, or are we gonna be?
I thought you were good till 8. Are you not? We can close it right off right now. You've got me all confused.
No. I don't have to, but I might need to.
Jen, do what you got to do.
I've been drinking this water.
Do what you
okay?
got to do, Jen. You
I've
got
been
me
drinking
confused.
this water, guys.
I don't know what you're asking me, so I can't give you an answer. But I love you to death, and this was absolutely great. We were only planning on having you for an hour, but you said y'all were that you could go till
Yeah, I could,
7.
but
Yeah.
then I drank too much water. So
All righty. Well, you heard it here first. Jen, we love you. Go get ready. Do what you got to do. Yeah, if you got to go,
right.
go drain the main vein, as us guys say. But yeah.
Well, now that you got public about it, George. I'm kidding. I don't care.
No, we love you, Jen. And like the comments like to argue with what's said all the time. I have a pretty good idea what Chris is talking about when he comments. No, he's talking about the number 1 receiver from last year. We're talking about portaling from these big dogs, Ohio State, et cetera, et cetera. So
and that's
yeah,
the Fleming kid, right?
I believe that's who he's talking about. Yes, he was the number 1 receiver in the class last year. So yeah, if you can get him in, and here is, and like I just said. Do you need me to kick you, Jen, or do you?
You can. I now want to agree with this person was saying.
Okay, yeah, no, by all means.
This is how I get lost. This is how I get lost.
You've got
and how
me
I get late.
spinning like a top. But no, you stay as long as you want. This audience loves you. We love Jen. Jen Santee, 1890 on X. Go follow her. Go run her numbers up, guys, and go watch her on the roll up when she gets on there in about 20, 30 minutes. Jeff Hill comes through here. The committee woken up a sleeping giant. And not only the boosters, but the Battles End, the latest, added more members. Yeah, Battles End has added like 3,000 members. If you're not already a part of the Battles End, go join the Battles End now. Do what you can. If you're not a booster,
I signed up my mother today, so all y'all can go sign up your parents. Go do it.
Okay.
I did that.
There's a campaign. If your parents are Florida State fans, even if they're not, if they're a damn Gator fan, go get your parents and your grandparents, sign them up for that recurring Battles End payment. No, don't do that, kids. If there's any kids watching, don't do that. But no, go sign up for Battles End, become a booster. Okay, yeah. Well, as long as you have permission, that's okay. Yeah. Just know we're not asking for people to commit fraud out there. But if you've got any questions, text them in, get your call in. We're gonna go. Look, we're at an hour and 6 minutes. There's literally 3 minutes left. How about that, Jim? We'll go 3 minutes and we'll just cut this thing off at an hour and 10. So guys, you guys are running out of time. What you got? Get us some questions before we get out of here. Angelo Smith, Battles End ain't fucking off. No, you are not kidding. You are not kidding. Angelo Smith says, Jen, just go pee and come back, dude. We don't want it. They don't want us to log off. Guys.
I get it, but I double booked. I'm sorry.
Yes, it happens. Look, we're creating a superstar over here. She's got to get out there and spread her wings, but she will be here with you guys. We will probably do a show. What do you think? Sunday, Jen? We'll see how it goes. But Tuesdays and Fridays are normal times. We did this Thursday so we could get with Jake Crain. But
if anything happens and we need to do a live, we can do that. But I'm gonna try and get my Christmas tree up tomorrow, guys. I haven't even done that, and I have young kids. I've got to.
It's Christmas, okay? The babies are what's first, and that's why we love Jen, because she's our kind of people. She is Florida State family people, just like Chris and those guys at Spear Addicts, and just like Battles End and the boosters and stuff. Chris and James, they do all kind of stuff. So go to them media group, Spear Addicts, and a lot of the money you spend with those guys goes straight to helping these athletes as well. And we will definitely get involved with that kind of stuff ourselves before it's over with. We just appreciate all the support. And yeah, the battlesend.com is not playing. They killed it. We ended up with 87% retainment of our production last year. I don't know if we get quite high that this year, just because we got so many NFL guys going and so many new guys that are about to take over on the offensive line. You won't have as many snaps. You're not going to have 3 million snaps, career snaps, when we start the next year on the offensive line. But what you're going to have is a lot higher recruiting rankings, a lot higher physical tools. You're going to have those dudes out there that look like Florida State offensive line and defensive lines of old. I feel so bad. I feel like we've got you chained to the chair and you got to pee. But is there anything you wanted to touch on before we get out of here?
No, I think that was such a fun interview. I kind of just was excited to have Florida State fans here, national guys, because it doesn't feel like we have anybody in our corner. So, with Max coming on and Jake, it was nice because we haven't heard that. Really, I mean, God, can you imagine? Can we get Tim Brando and Booger McFarland on? I don't know. We'll see if Jen can work on it because I don't know. Figure it out.
Jen, work your magic. But all right, guys, we are going to go ahead and call it a day. We're going to get out of here. Actually, I'm going to drop Jen off and I will rant for a few more minutes. But we love you, Jen. Go get ready. Go take care of them kids, and we will be watching you.
All right, guys. Y'all have a good night. I'll talk to you later, George.
Absolutely. We love you.
Anything.
All right. So, yeah, I'm going to give you guys about another 5 minutes. If you have any questions or comments, get them in. And if not, look, guys, we're doing this shit. Florida State is going to sign 10 to 12 portal guys. They are coming in. Like my guy Angelo Smith said, hit the like button, share and subscribe. We really, really appreciate it. We're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers. We said before the season ended, but with the college football playoff, we'll save before the bowl game. So we got about a month. We're going to try and hit 1,000 subscribers. So y'all make sure y'all like and subscribe. And Jen is going over to do the roll up. So yeah, you want to check her out over there. And Chris Razor of Spear Addicts has some big time news that he has permission to get off his chest over there at Spear Addicts. So you guys have got to get over there and figure out what that's about. It doesn't look like we have any more questions, guys. So we're going to call it a day. Go Noles, and we will see you guys soon. Probably Sunday for your next show. So look out. We will get the link up. Go Noles.